couldn't meet you last week, I think I will just give an overview of the unit one briefly, and then we move on to this week's activity. Please, do you understand?
Yes, please.
Hello?
Hi, sir.
Yeah. I hope you understand my point of view.
Yes, sir.
Or last week, you held it in your various centers.
Some of us, please.
Okay, some of you, okay, held it. All right. Okay, then like you were saying, so I will just go over briefly, and then we continue with this week's lesson. All right. So last week we looked at language policy. This course is the use of Ghanaian language as a medium of instruction. And the use of Ghanaian language doesn't mean that you are going to learn or study tree. Rather, we are saying that the kind of language that we are supposed to use in our educational system or in the course of teaching and learning.
I think the student will join.
Okay.
Doc is around. Dr. Nyaku is around. Doc is.
Yeah, hello. Boko. Good morning. Okay. So, Ghanaian language. Mm, 7 to 9. 7 to 9. Na yɛde na mode aka ayi no no. Ɔse. Ɔse. Saa. Na yɛde na ayi no mu so. Okay, ɔde material de ɔpɔn a. Hello. Hello. Ah, but when to be any woman. Yeah, you know to be any come. But with 300 there, you know, him. The use of Ghanaian language, be any bomb points in a go. Or there we are not any. They say, be any woman. Say last week, I said you want to the class. And the end run away in the buyer. Say teacher in a year crowd. You will be beginning to walk when. Or there we are here, level 300. Be beginning the 1.7 now, which is in the class.
Yeah. Hello. Hello. Hello, colleagues.
Hi.
Yeah. The information I had is that somebody removed me from the platform, so I don't know the person who did that. But all the same, I am back, and so I think we have to set some rules. I think you can turn off your videos. Those of you who have put yours on video, you can turn it off. And then again, you also have to mute it. You can only unmute when you want to ask a question or you have some submissions to make. I hope we are clear.
Yes, please.
All right. Thank you very much. And so as I was saying that we are looking at the kind of language that we are supposed to use in our educational system. Whether we are to use P, Dagbani, or Equiapem, or Fante, or Gurini Gonja, or English in the teaching and learning in our classrooms. This is what this course bodies, or it talks about. You know that Ghana is a multilingual nation. We have about 89 languages. Even now, I believe some have even been added to it. And so Ghana being a multilingual nation, what kind of language should we use in the teaching and learning in our educational system? And that is what this course seeks to unravel. And so last week we started talking about, when we say language policy, what is it? And first of all, we said that a policy simply is just about rules and regulations that governs the use of a particular language in our educational system. So language policy is about the laws that back the use of either English language or any of the Ghanaian languages in our teaching and learning. So that's what basically we said about language policy. So language policy actually is backed by what? By law. When it's backed by law, it suggests that. Hello. Hello. Hello, colleagues. Hello. Hi. Yeah, somebody made a comment, so I just want to get it so that we resolve it. Okay, so can I go on? Name music mic Nina. Oh. Hello. The music is true. I am the only person online. See. Also, my music, you know, make us out. You can hear. I think it is from the end. But when I listen to Abba. Okay. All right. Hello. Yeah. Hi. So that's what basically we look at last week. So last week we talked about what language policy, and then we have language policy in education. And so we are saying that the language that is backed by what? By law, to be used as a medium of instruction in the Ghanaian classroom. All right. Now we talk about some of the terms in this particular course, and we said that we have what we call first language or heritage language. Another name for the first language or the heritage language is the L1. When we say L1, then we are talking about our local languages, the indigenous languages that we speak. That is our L1. That is our heritage language. That is our mother tongue, the language that we are born with, the language that right after birth, our parents communicate or interact with us. That is what we term as what? the first language or heritage language. Another term is known as mother tongue. Okay, so these are some of the terms for the first language or L1. So we also have what we call second language, or others say foreign language. So the foreign language is an international language. So for example, we have English language. English is a foreign language. French is a foreign language. Spanish is a foreign language. Portuguese is a foreign language. These are what we refer to as foreign languages. These languages actually are the languages that we also inherited from our colonial masters. And so this is what we refer to as the second language or foreign languages. All right. And then we came to talk about the classification of languages. And we said that languages can be classified into three. One, we have what we call international language. So the international language is just like the foreign languages are spoken in multiple countries. So as I mentioned earlier, English, French, Spanish, etc., all of them, we see them as international language. It is a global language. A lot of people in the world speak this kind of languages. So international language is one of the classification of languages. And the second one we looked at was national language. National language. So the national language is one of the local languages that has been accepted by the people of a particular country to use. And Ghana, for example, we don't have a national language because we have not decided to use any of our local languages as a medium of instruction or as a means of what? Communication. And so Ghana, as at now, we don't have a national language. But when you go to Kenya and Tanzania, they have their national languages. That's a language that has been accepted by the people in the country that they use as a means of communication. And you see, language is so powerful. When somebody comes to you and then gives his or her language to you, it means that in a way the person has conquered you. And so Ghana, one of our difficulties is that we are unable to use any of our local languages as our national language. Whether we are to use Gadangwe, whether we are to use Chi, whether we are to use Fante, it has always been a struggle. That is how come we don't have a national language. And then we also have our official language. So Ghana, for example, our official language is the English language, the language that has been accepted, that is backed by law to be used as a communication or to be used as what? As interaction. So when you go to any part of Ghana, any government institution, the official language we use in communicating or communication is what? Is English language. So English is our official language. And then we came to talk about the categories of language policy. And we said that the language policy, we have what we call the overt language policy, also known as explicit. The overt language policy means that it is backed by law. It has that legal backing. It has that legislative backing for us to use it or speak. So in that case, any language that is overt is always backed by what? By law. It has that legislation that we are allowed to use it. Are we okay? And then the second category also has to do with what we call the covert language policy. The covert language policy means that the language that we are supposed to use is not backed by law, and yet we speak it. And so, for example, in Ghana, the local languages that is backed by law that we are supposed to speak or use, we have Gandangwe, we have Akan, we have Evre, okay, and I think we have Kapim Tree, Fanti Tree, and then Buruni Gonja. Aside these local languages, there are other languages that are not backed by law, and yet we speak it. For example, when you come to where I live, for example, Domahinkro, we speak Bono language, but Bono is not backed by law, and so we say that it is covert language. Those that are backed by law, the local language that are backed by law, is what we call the overt. They are explicit. So every is an overt language. It means that it is allowed to be used. So when you go to Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, for example, they speak these local languages. You will find them when you go to GBC 1, where they speak the local languages. Sometimes they tune into Ewe or Gadangwe or Akan. It means that these languages are backed by what? By law. So these are the categories of the language policy. All right, so these are some of the things that we talk about. And then we also talked about some of the factors that affect the use of or the implementation of language policy. There are so many factors that affect it. And then we mentioned political will, we mentioned language preference. Parents have their preference. Education, stakeholders in education like parents, like educationists, like teachers, all of them have preferences when it comes to the implementation of language policy. And then we also mentioned inadequate public education. It's also one of the factors that can affect the implementation of language policy. Last week we also talked about some of the theoretical orientation. The L1, the language policy is also informed by certain theories. And these theories also informed us in the choice of the kind of language that we are supposed to use as a medium of instruction. And we talked about hello. Hello, class. Hello.
Say you are alive.
Please just mute your microphone. Hello, mute your microphone. Yeah,
Hello,
please mute your microphone. Yeah, so please,
some of us we
set the rules.
can we need to know where we are?
Where we are. In fact, we are just recapturing what we did last week. I'm just going over what we did last week, and then we'll move on to Unit 2 quickly.
Okay, thank you.
Please do understand. So I'm just giving an overview of what we did last week. Last week, some people said they didn't do the Unit 1. And so I needed to go over some more so that we can quickly jump into today's lesson. And I've started and I've gotten to a place where we also talked about the theories that informed the use of any of the languages as a medium of instruction. And one of the theories that backed the use of language as a medium of instruction, that informed a nation to make a choice whether we are to use Ghanaian language or we have to use L2, English only medium of instruction. That is what we are talking about. And the first theory has to do with what we call cultural discontinuity. It's a theory. And this theory is just about the fact that you see, before any child goes to school, that child already has the mother tongue, or has the L1, or the heritage language, or we say the home language. And immediately the child gets to school, that home language that the child brought to school is not being continued. It is cut short. And then teachers then tend to use the L2 in teaching that particular child. So a child has come to school with L1 background. And instead of continuing teaching the child with that L1 of the child, teachers and parents then tend to what? Discontinue that particular L1 language and rather use English in teaching the child. So here we are saying that this theory, the L1 of the child is being discontinued. We don't continue the L1 that the child brought to what? To school. That is what we call the theory of cultural discontinuity. First of all, you have to understand that language is culture. And so the culture, what is the language of the child that the child has brought to school, that culture is no more being continued. Rather, a new language is used in teaching that particular child. And this issue that we are talking about is experienced when you go to most of the private schools. You know, for example, the 2017 language policy says that the L1 is supposed to be used as a medium of instruction at the lower primary. And then the L2 is used at the upper primary from class 4 onwards. But this particular language policy is not fully being implemented, especially when you move into most of our private schools. And so in our private schools, we see that this theory actually applies there. Cultural discontinuity. The language, the L1 background or language that the child brings to school, the child comes to school and then the private teachers use English language in teaching them. When you do that, you cut short that particular home language of the child. And so that is one of the theories. And the second theory also has to do with what we call structural inequality. It's also another theory. The structural inequality is the fact that there are some influential people in our society, and they always want their preference to stand. And so when they prefer that we use English language as a medium of instruction, because of their power, they want their influence to be felt or to be held. Or to be held. So here, theory of structural inequality is that there are inequality in the system. And because of the structure of our system, we have what we call the upper class, we have the middle class, and then we have the lower class. So anytime the upper class people always speak, their preference is what holds. If we're lower class people, and then your preference is that you want the L1 to be used as a medium of instruction, you see that because of their power, because of their influence, yours will not be accepted. So that is the theory of structural inequality. It also affects the use of what a particular language to be used as a medium of instruction. And the last theory that informs the use of a particular language policy has to do with what we call culturally responsive theory. Culturally responsive theory. So this is just an opposite to the first one. And so with this particular theory, what we are saying is that the home language of the child, or the L1 the child brings to school, is being given a response to by classroom teachers. In other words, the home language of the child is being continued. This time it's not being discontinued. It's being continued in the teaching and learning in the classroom. This also inform us as to the language policy to be used as what? As a medium of instruction. Yeah. And so this is what we discussed last week. And we talked about the importance. We also said that children also have the right to language. And so the UN Charter also backed that. Okay, UNESCO, they also back that the children also have the right to a particular language. So if the child comes to the classroom with the home language, teachers and stakeholders must also ensure that that language right of the child is being respected. We shouldn't say that the child speaks Ghanaian language and so you just force them to speak English language. Just like when we are young, in our school, they will just speak English only. Speaking Twi here is prohibited. And then if you speak Twi, a whole lot of things, or vernacular, a whole lot of things will be done to you. We are saying that the UNESCO has also affirmed that children has the right, they have the language right. So if the child speaks English language, you the teacher or you the parent should not shut the child up for speaking any of the vernacular. Okay. And then we also talk about what experts also say about the children's right to the heritage language, or the L1. In fact, the experts say that if the child is actually proficient, is very well versed in the L1, it will always help the children in their learning. They're able to acquire the second language even quicker than when the child is being exposed to the L2 only, or the foreign language. Yeah. And then we talk about the importance of appropriate language policy of education. And here we talk about the benefits of language policy of education to learners. The learners have some kind of what benefit when you use appropriate language in teaching them. So if the child comes to school with a L1 background, and teachers and parents also continue with that, it will help the children a lot, because the child, for example, is able to acquire a lot of concepts. They're able to acquire concepts very well and quickly. So in the house, the child has been taught that tomatoes in tea, we say in toast.
And I'm going to level 500 year what read you.
Oh. Lydia, please mute your microphone. Lydia, please mute your microphone. All right. So we have the benefit of using appropriate language to both the learner and then the teachers. Teachers, if you use the L1 or appropriate language in teaching your children, you will see how fast the children are able to grasp concepts. You will see how they will enjoy your lessons. So these are some of the benefits that we are talking about. So in your model, you can just look at it and then you use them. Okay. All right. And then we also talk about the mode of stakeholders' participation in the language policy. If any language policy is being implemented, what is the role? What is the mode of these stakeholders, like education, like teachers, their role in ensuring that this language policy is what is being implemented? So when we say the mode, the kind of discussions that go on before this language policy is being implemented. So we talk about public discourse, we talk about public text, we talk about performative action, and then collaborative process. These are the modes by which a language policy is being implemented. Hello, class. So please, do you understand what we have done so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is just an overview. This is just an overview of what we did last week. Now, we are now moving on to Unit 2. In Unit 2, we are going to talk about what we call bilingual education. Bilingual education. And so by the end of this lesson, we are going to, you'll be able to explain what bilingual education is. And then you identify the types of this bilingual education. We are also going to talk about, we will also be able to explain what you call medium of instruction. What is it? And then the types of medium of instruction. And then we will talk about the relevance, okay, or the importance of what? Of bilingual education. So by the end of this particular lesson, this is what we expect to understand and explain. So first of all, when we say bilingual education, I just want to throw this question to you. So when we say bilingual, yeah, can somebody explain it more to us, and then we move on? Yeah. So can somebody briefly just tell us or explain what bilingual education is to us, and then we will take it from there. Briefly.
Hello.
Yeah, so let me see whose hand is that. All right, Thomas.
Okay, I think when you talk about bi, it refers to two. So bilingual education, in my opinion, I think it's whereby a learner is exposed to two languages with the learning process.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Thomas. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, any other opinion?
Yes,
Okay.
I also
all right.
think
Who is speaking now?
Mercy.
Yeah, Mercy.
Yeah, bilingual education, I also think the use of two languages to learn.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. So just as you have said it right. You know, mono means what? When we say mono means what? One, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
And
please.
then bi means what? Two. So just as you have explained it, bi means that we are using two languages in what? In our educational what? System. So an educational system or setting where two languages are used as a medium of instruction. In other words, where two languages are used to teach our children. So now when you come to Ghanaian educational sector, this language policy is actually being implemented. And most African countries, they actually make use of this two languages, bilingual education, meaning that they use the L1 and the L2 in the teaching and learning in the classroom. So that is what bilingual education is. And in recent times, because of the importance and benefit of bilingual education, even US, England, who is a monolingual country. Monolingual means that their medium of instruction is purely what? English language. They have also adapted this particular bilingual education in their system, because they understand that there are some people in US who are English language learners. It means that they want to acquire English language. They have a certain minority language, which they want to acquire English as their second language. And so they also apply this bilingual system, where there are some children in US who has a certain minority language. You see, this time because of immigration system, people have traveled to these places. And when they go in accessing education, they have a certain minority language as their background, which is their L1. And then they want to learn English as what? As their second language. And so we call them English language learners, ELL. So such people are being instructed using what? 2 languages. They try to understand their minority language and then use what? English language. They blend in what? In teaching them. When you come to this part of our world, in our classroom situation, that is what is now being practiced in the Ghanaian classroom, especially at the lower primary level. You see that teachers now use the 2 languages. They blend. Okay? They speak the L1 and try to use the L2 to what? And add the L2 to it. So it means that the bilingual education is actually taking root in the world. And in most of the African countries, they make use of what? Bilingual education. They make use of 2 languages. In other words, we say dual language. 2 languages in what? In the teaching and learning in our classrooms. All right. And there are language experts. Language experts actually say something positive by using what? This bilingual education. Language experts actually say that, like Brooke Utna says that when you use the 2 languages, it actually promotes positive academic work. It actually promotes the cognitive part of what? Of the children. The children are able to use their brain. They are able to recall facts and a lot of what? A lot of things. And so the point is that the bilingual education actually is positive. It is something that is relevant to any educational setting or any educational sector. And so now people have now adapted this particular bilingual education in what? In their educational system. So language experts actually emphasize that the use of bilingual education has a lot of what? Relevance to children and then to learners as well. So just as I've just mentioned, that the bilingual education actually has a positive academic and brain health implication of the children. It actually improves their what? Their cognitive and then their recall ability. Okay. Now let's move on to talk about the types of bilingualism. Types of bilingualism. And before we talk about the types, I just want to look at these particular terms. They are very important when it comes to bilingualism. And so one of the first terms I want us to look at is when we say monolingual. Yeah, so I just want to throw it to you. When we say monolingual, how do you understand it? Monolingual. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, so monolingual. Yeah, Thomas.
Monolingual refers to the use of one language as a medium of instruction.
Thank you very much. All right. And so another term for it is known as unilateral. Okay, unilingual. Yeah, rather, unilingual, meaning one. Okay. All right. Okay. So a person who knows and uses only one language. Okay. As to communicate or to interact. So when you can only communicate in only your mother tongue, which is either Ewe or Akan, or Fancy, then we are saying that you are unilingualist. That is one, unilingual or monolingual. All right. Now let's go to the second term, bilingual. Bilingual. Yeah. Bilingual. Yeah. Somebody should explain that one to us.
The use of two
All right.
different
Yvonne.
construction.
Yvonne, please come again.
Please, I said the use of two languages in instructing.
Thank you very much. So by two languages, okay? Somebody, a person who speaks, okay? Two languages. So for example, when you speak your local language and then L2, okay, Twi or Ever and English, we say you are being what? A bilingual, okay? All right. Now let's move on to the next term. We have to go biliterate. Biliterate. Yes, biliterate.
Hello, sir.
All right. Yes,
Biliterate
Ajaman. Yeah, Ajaman.
is a person who can read and write two languages.
Thank you very much. All right. So the literate there means that someone who can read and write, and the bi means what? Two. Thank you very much. So that is it. Let's move to the next one. We have what to call bilingualism. Bilingualism.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Yeah, Ajaman.
Bilingualism.
Yes.
Bilingualism is the ability to speak two languages.
Thank you very much. All right. Your ability to be able to speak and write in two languages. Okay. So biliterate and bilingual, all of them come from this noun, bilingualism. Thank you very much. And then we have biliteracy. Biliteracy. Yes. Who will explain to us?
Hey.
Biliteracy. All right. So biliteracy is what the ability to be able to what? To write, to read and write in what? In two languages. Okay. It's just like the biliterate. But the biliterate is that you're able to read and write in two languages. Okay. And then biliteracy is the ability to read and write in what? In two languages. So it's almost the same, just by what? By the use of what? Of the terms. All right. Thank you very much. And so quickly now, let's look at the models. In other words, the types of bilingualism. Types of bilingualism. So one of the types of bilingualism, one of the types of using two languages in instruction is known as sequential bilingualism. Sequential. So I just want to mention them and then we'll now explain them. All right. So one of the types, in other words, model of bilingualism is known as sequential. That is one. The second one is known as simultaneous. The third one is additive. Additive. And then the fourth one is subtractive. Subtractive. So these are the types, or we say the models of bilingualism, the models of using two languages as a medium of what? As a medium of instruction. All right. Yeah, so let me now hear from you. When we say sequential bilingualism, yeah, somebody should explain it briefly to us. Sequential. Yes. Sequential
Yes.
bilingualism.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Who is explaining it to us?
I'm explaining, please.
All right. Augustine. Please, who's speaking your name? Augustine.
No, this is Robin.
Robin. Okay. All right.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So from the word sequence, meaning step by
Okay.
step. So sequential, it means you learn one at a go, maybe from one to the other. That's how basically I understand it.
Very good. Thank you very much. All right. So you study one, and then the next one follows.
Hello, sir.
Thank you very much.
Hello,
Okay.
sir.
Any other opinion? All right. Yeah. So just as Robert, you just said, that is it. So sequential, what we are saying is that the child already has his own mother tongue. The child comes to school with his or her mother tongue, or the L1, or the home language. The child comes to school. And we are saying that that language of the child is the kind of language that the child has been exposed to in the house. The child is very good at the L1. In other words, we say the child is very proficient. The child can easily express his or himself in the L1 adequately. And so we are saying that when the child is proficient, when the child is best in using the L1, then you then later introduces what? The L2, in other words, the English language to what? To the child. So we say that here, like you mentioned, the child learns in what? In sequence. Okay. So if you want to study in sequence, it means that you have to be very good at one particular language before another one is what? Is studied. And you know, in teaching and learning, we say that we learn from known to what? Unknown. We learn from simple to what? To complex. Are you getting the point? Yeah. And so when the child is very good at it, the language that the child is very good at it, let the child be able to express himself adequately to become very good at what? At that L1. And then the L2 is then what? Is then studied what? Later on. Class, do you understand? Do you understand?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So the child acquires the L1, enough of it, and then later becomes what? Proficient in the L2. And this particular type of bilingualism is very good. Okay, it actually helps the children to be able to acquire what? Acquire the second language. Now, when you go to some Ghanaian homes, for them, using the L1 in the house is not allowed. They only make use of what? Of the L2. And so when a child comes to school, it's the same L2 that is going to be continued. And such children have what? Some kind of what? What do you call it? Defect in acquiring what? Acquiring languages. And so that is what this sequential bilingualism is all about. Okay, that's when the child has acquired the L1 enough, and the child later becomes what? Proficient. The child now later becomes very good in the use of what? Of the second language. And so when you come to Ghanaian classroom, in our KG system, that is how it is. The L1, or as the child has been exposed to the L1, he comes to school, and then now there is a blend, and therefore the child is able to what? Able to acquire the L2 in the teaching and learning. So we are saying that under this model, the children use their knowledge and experience in the L1 to enhance the acquisition and or learning of what of the L2. So per the background of the child, you see the background of the child is the L1. And so the experience that the child has gotten in the L1 will facilitate in the acquisition of what? Of the L2. You see, in the house, the child has gotten, for example, we say tomatoes, in toast in tree. And then the child comes to school. He has had some kind of experience that round fruit, a vegetable is known as what? In toast. And so based on that, the child now comes to the classroom and is being exposed to the L2 and says, this is what? Tomatoes. All right. So that is one of the advantages of what? Of the sequential bilingualism. All right. Okay. Please, are you okay? All right. And we are saying that in our KG system, the child studies this one from age 4 to 6 years. Okay. That is at the early childhood development stage. This is where this particular model can be implemented. All right. All right. Okay. Now let's move on to talk about the second type of bilingualism. The second one is simultaneous bilingualism. Simultaneous. Yeah, so somebody should briefly explain this one to us. Simultaneous.
Hello, sir.
All right, yeah, Ajman.
Sir, when you say simultaneous bilingualism, it's where a child acquires two languages at the same time in early life.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, any other opinion? Any other opinion?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So as you said already, when you go to
Okay.
some of you see that the parents use both local language and
Hello.
at the same time when communicating to
Hello.
Yeah, Kwabena, you are speaking. Yeah, Kwabena, you are allowed to speak.
Yes. What I said was that, as you have already said, when you go to some of our homes in Ghana here, you see the parents communicating with their children both with the local language and then the English language. So this means that they are teaching their children with these two languages at the same time.
Thank you very much. All right, so you have given us a practical example. All right, thank you very much. Okay, yeah, so simultaneous bilingual or bilingualism, just as we have explained, is using both the L1 and the L2 at the same time. Okay, using both the L1 and the L2 at the same time, either at home or in the school. Okay. All right. So some people expose their children to these two languages right after birth. There are some parents that, as we mentioned, in their houses, they expose their children to the use of the two languages at birth. Okay. And so now let's understand this. When they expose the children to two languages at birth, now which of the two languages would the children be able to express themselves well at? Okay, so here we are saying that when the children are exposed to the two languages at the same time, there could be what we call 90-10. There could be 50-50. Okay, 90-10 means that either they are able to express themselves well in the L1 and in the L2 maybe 10%, and vice versa. And at a point to either they're able to express themselves well, 50-50, both the L1 and then the L2 at the same time. So in simultaneous bilingualism, exposing the student to the two languages at the same time, it can vary in this particular manner or this particular way. It can be 90-10, meaning that 90% L1 and 10% L2. Or it could be 50-50. Okay, 50% L1 and then 50% L2. So these are some of these are the variations in terms of what? Of the use of what? Of the simultaneous bilingualism. Exposing the student to what? To the use of what? Two languages at the same time, and also right after what? After birth. All right. Please, are we okay?
So please, I have a question to
All
ask.
right. Okay, ask please.
Yes. So with the simultaneous bilingualism, you mentioned that the child acquires both L1 and L2.
Yeah.
So what happens if the child acquires L1 and another L1? Is it still the same simultaneous bilingualism?
Okay. L1 like what? Can you give an example? Like say
like the child learns chi and then learns fra.
Okay.
So is that supposed to be a simultaneous bilingualism, or because it's not L2, it doesn't qualify to be simultaneous bilingualism?
Yes. So in that case, the child becomes a polyglot. Okay. When we say polyglot, it means that the person is able to express himself in many languages. Are you getting it? And you know, for example, for example, we say it is not an overt language. It means that it is not by law, but the child has been able to acquire it. The child is free to use it. Are you getting it? So here, what we are saying is that exposing the children to the L1 and the L2. Are you getting it? So if you expose the child to two different local languages or indigenous languages, and the child is being exposed to another L2, it still becomes bilingualism.
Simultaneous bilingualism.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
I hope you understand.
Yes, I get you now.
So there's some. It's just about the L1 and the L2.
Sure.
So even if you acquire two of our indigenous languages or three of our indigenous languages, and then
yes, please,
you acquire the L2, it still becomes bi, because it is the indigenous language against
plus the L2
plus the L1.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Right.
So that is the simultaneous.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and I'm saying that it varies. It could be 90-10. It means that 90% L1, 10% L2. It could also vary 50-50, 50% L1 and the 50% L2. I hope it is clear. All right. Now let's move on to talk about the third type. That is additive. Additive. Yeah, so somebody should explain this one to us. Additive. Additive.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I can.
When we say additive, you all know that the word additive is talking about adding one thing to another. So this means that when you bring it to our languages, it means that the child has already learned one language and now coming to learn additional language.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. So, say that just as we have explained, that is additive bilingualism. Okay, it's all about the two languages. But what we are saying is that the L1 of the child, okay, the child learns the L2, okay, or the child continues with the L1 while the child develops learning what? Or acquiring the L2. Okay, so the L1, the home language of the child, is already there. The child is learning that one. And in the course of learning the L1, the child also develops or acquire the L2 in addition to the home language. I hope we are clear. Okay.
Yes, please.
All right. Okay. So that is what the additive is all about. Okay. The learning of the L1 continues while you acquire the L2, while you try to what? Become proficient. You become well versed in what? In the speaking or acquisition of what? Of the L2. All right, so here we are saying that in that case, in the classroom situation, the background, the language background of the child is actually what? Valued. Okay, it means that the background language of the child is being recognized by the classroom teacher or by the parent. Because the child already learned that one while he acquires what? The L2. It means that you don't stop learning the L1. Are you getting the point? The child learns the L1 while the child develops the acquisition of what? Of the L2. All right. So what we're saying is that how do we ensure that the child is able to acquire the L2 in this particular instance? The child has the L1 all right, but how do we ensure? How do parents and teachers ensure that the child does not leave the L1 or learning the L1 or stop learning the L1 and rather continue with the L2? How can parents and teachers ensure?
Sir, please, I'm sorry to bring us back. I need some clarification on this. Please, the sequential bilingualism,
okay,
and the additive bilingualism.
Okay.
The differences. Can you point out the differences for me, sir?
All right. Okay. Now the sequential one. What you are saying is that the child has acquired the L1. Okay. And then later.
Yes, sir.
And then later on, acquires what? The L2.
Okay.
And then, while the additive one, the child learns the L1.
Okay.
The child continues to learn the L1. While, these are the differences. While he continues to what? Acquire the L2. Are you getting it? So the sequential one, the child has acquired the L1 and later acquire the L2 and it becomes bi.
Okay.
But that of the additive, what you are saying is that the child continues to learn the L1. He doesn't stop learning the L1.
Okay. I get
while
it.
Trying as much as possible to develop
the additional L2. Okay.
Are you okay?
Yes, I get
All
you
right.
now, sir.
So this is the difference. All right.
Yes,
I think it's very important you ask this question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I think it's okay. Now let's talk about how can parents, teachers, and stakeholders promote or encourage the additive bilingualism in the classroom. How can parents, teachers promote this particular bilingualism in our educational setting? Is there any way by which parents, teachers can promote this?
Yes, please.
All right. So who is speaking?
Yes, this is Jerome.
Jerome. All right. So let's hear you.
Please, in order for parents, both parents and teachers to promote additive bilingualism is practicing both languages at home.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. So parents who practice, okay, the use of what? Of the L1 and also the L2 at home. All right. Okay. Any other? So that the child will see the relevance of the use of the two languages. Because when you speak one at the what do you call it, at the expense of the other, the child will not value. If you speak only the L1, the child will not value the L2. And then the classroom, if the teacher you speak only the L2, the child will not value what? The L1. So we are saying that both should be used concurrently. All right, so that the child will see the relevance of what? Of the two languages, bilingualism. All right. Any other? Any other? All right. So yeah, so when you go to your model page 48, yeah, they have enumerated them there. So the first one is what Jerome mentioned. The second one is that you have to motivate and encourage your students, okay, to be able to express themselves in what? In two languages. Yeah, so just motivate your children. When you do that, you promote and encourage what? The additive what? Bilingualism. All right. And another one is that teachers must also encourage what? Parents to participate in their children's what? Or their what? Education, and work with them to develop what they envision. So you see, teachers and parents, all of us are stakeholders in education. And so we must also empower these stakeholders like parents to also ensure that. Is somebody speaking?
Yes, it's me. Who is speaking?
Yeah,
some parents,
okay.
Some parents are saying that the L1 is more important than the L2.
Yeah, so, yeah. So that is the essence of this particular course. The parents, they have their preference. Okay. Teachers have their preference. Educationists have their preference. The government even have their preference. And so as we go along, we'll be going to do the historical perspectives of our educational system. And then you realize that a time came that some governments preferred English only medium of instruction. Okay. So what you are talking about is the preference, and it has to do with the attitude of parents. It has to do with the attitude of what? Of teachers. And you see, sometimes the language policy lacks implementation, in the sense that because of the preference is one of the factors that affect this language policy implementation. So when the language policy says that we are to use a tree in teaching our children from KG to at the lower primary, you see that when you move into some private schools, they will now prefer using what? English. It means that the language policy is being defeated. And it all boils down to what? To preferences. Are you getting the point?
I said, the parents are not good in the little. How can they help their kids?
Yes, ask your question again.
Say, please, I said, what about some of the parents? They are not good in the L2. How can they help their kids?
They are not good at the L2.
Yes, some of the
and
parents.
We are saying that, in fact, the L1 facilitates in the speaking of what? Of the L2. So if you are a parent and then you are not good at kind of saying L2, just use the L1, and that will help your child to be able to acquire the L2 even at a quicker pace. Yeah, Seth, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So if you're a parent and you're not good at the L2, the child will learn the L2 at school. So let the child be very proficient, be very good at the L1 in the house. Train the child in the house very well. And then while the child goes to school, now he continues to learn the what? The L2. Are you getting it? You can off your video, eh? Everybody's looking to your face. Settle. Okay. So these are the ways by which we can what? Promote or encourage what? The additive bilingualism. Practicing it in the house and even the school, motivating the learners, and then parents to becoming aware of the importance of what? Of bilingualism and the rest. Now let's look at the third type of bilingualism. The third one has to do with what? The fourth one, eh? All right, thank you. Now the fourth one has to do with what? The subtractive. So we have additive and subtractive. Okay. So the additive, we are saying that the L1 continues while acquiring what? The L2. Now the subtractive one, so this one is contrary to the additive. So briefly, what is it? Let's have our opinion. Subtractive. What is that one so talking about? Yes. Anybody here to subtractive? Subtractive.
Sir.
All right.
Mercy.
Yeah, Gifty.
No, Mercy.
Okay. Mercy. Okay, Mercy, you are on.
So my understanding of the subtractive is that the child stops learning the L1 as she continues or moves to a higher class. That is after the lower primary.
Okay.
The child only uses the L2 in class.
Okay. All right.
Robert.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah. So that is it. Yeah. Is another opinion?
Yes, Robert. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Robert. Yeah.
Yes, so this one, I think the subtractive is when the child doesn't even get opportunity to learn the L1.
The child does not get opportunity to learn the L1.
At all,
so resort to the learning of what?
The L2.
The L2. All right. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much, Mercy, and then Robert. Yeah. So the subtractive one, as you have just mentioned, is that the child
language.
Yeah, the child acquires or learn the L2.
L2, the second more than.
Okay, learn the L2 rather than the L1. The child learns or acquires the L2 at the expense of the L1. So it is basically L2 only, minus. So the child studies what? The L2 minus the L1. Okay. So the point is that though the two languages are there for the child to learn, but the child learns or acquires what the L2 rather than acquiring what the L1 in addition. So minus. Are you getting it? So this type of bilingualism is also there. Instead of child becoming, the child is aware of the L1 and the L2, but the child rather prefers acquiring the L2 rather than at the expense of the L1. So it is the L2 minus the L1. Class, are you getting it?
Please, I have a question on this.
Okay.
Yeah. Please, with the subtractive bilingualism, is it a deliberate of the child to leave the other language and learn the second language, or it is a factor or the environment in which the child found his or herself that will influence the child to learn the second language and forget the first language?
Okay. All right. This question is all to us, so I don't know if somebody can respond to us.
Yeah, so let me explain. That's Mercy.
Okay, yeah, Mercy.
My understanding, the child doesn't leave the L1, but as the child moves further, the L2 is more used than the L1 in learning or in teaching.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Please, the person who asked the question, do you get it?
Let's look contribution.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's assume that a child found outside Ghana, Ghanaian child living with parents outside Ghana. So maybe the parent will decide to use the language that would prefer to use in school for that child, and the language that's the mother language. So later then they will decide to teach the child L1 as the mother tongue.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the subtractive one, what we are saying is that in some of our Ghanaian homes, they don't even speak, sorry, they don't even speak any of our local languages in the house. Are you getting the point? And so in this case, the child is not being exposed to even the L1. They speak only L2, only English. And so here we say that the child is being denied the opportunity to even learn what? The L1. Okay? And so here, subtractive means that the L1 is there, all right, for the child to learn, but then the child is not being given that opportunity. The child is being denied. And in such homes, they use only the L2, only English language. Are you getting the point? And even the example that I cited, that when you move into some of our private schools, instead of them to use the L1 and the L2 in their teen learning, they only expose their children to what? To the L2. When you do that, we say this is subtractive. They use the L2 at the expense of what? Of the L1. And it becomes subtractive what? Bilingualism. The L1 is there, all right, for them to use, and yet the children are being denied the opportunity to use the L1, and rather they speak only what? The L2. Please, do you now get it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is a subtractive. Okay, it's like the background, the culture, the language, which is the culture of the child, is being denied. The child is being denied of that particular culture. Okay, and so sometimes you meet people at school, or you meet people in certain occasions, and they are unable to express themselves in any of the local languages. Okay, if it is ever they cannot express themselves in it, if it is because of the fact that in their house or in their home they have only been exposed to the L2. Such homes speaking L1, any of the indigenous languages is prohibited. And so in that case, it is not that the L1 is not there, it is there, but they have intentionally decided that they won't use L1 in the house. And therefore, the only language available to the child is what is to use what the L2. I hope it is clear. All right. Okay. So now we have talked about what the types or the models of what bilingualism. Okay. Yeah. So, hello. All right. So we have talked about what? We have talked about sequential. Okay. We have talked about simultaneous, and then we have also talked about what? About the additive, and the last type or the model is what? Is subtractive. Now let's move on to talk about another important thing. We have what we call medium of instruction and its types. All right. So first of all, let's understand what medium of instruction is. MOI, medium of instruction. All right. So when we say medium of instruction, yeah, somebody should briefly explain to us. How many minutes? Okay. Yeah. So briefly, when we say medium of instruction, somebody should briefly tell us, and then I will move on quickly. Yeah. Who is speaking? Medium of instruction. What's the meaning of medium of instruction?
Say, he said, who's speaking?
Yeah,
medium of instructions means the language through which education is delivered to the learners in a different level of educational system.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. So instruction means that teaching. Okay. And the medium, the means. Okay. So the means through which, okay, we have to use language in what? In the teaching and learning in our classroom. Okay. All right. So the language that is used in the teaching and learning in what? In our classroom what situation. So, for example, currently, when you come to our educational system, at the lower primary level, KG to primary 3, what is the medium of instruction? It is just like a bilingual. You blend the two. Okay. You use the L1, and then where appropriate, you make use of what? Of the L2. Yeah. So that is the medium of instruction. When you move into all our educational sector, that is how teaching and learning is done. That is how instructions. That's how we teach our children.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I am a teacher, teaching DHS. So can I use the L1?
Now, what does the policy say? The policy says from upper primary onwards, you study any of the Ghanaian languages, and then we use English language L2 in teaching.
Okay.
Are you getting it? But at the lower primary, KG to lower primary 3, you see that we use the local language even more.
Yes.
And then from primary 4 onwards, we instruct strictly in English language. Okay, but the Ghanaian language is being studied as a subject. Are you getting it?
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. So now let's move on. Now let's talk about types of medium of instruction. The medium of instruction, we have types. So types of medium of instruction. And one of the types of medium of instruction, one of them is mother tongue medium of instruction. Mother tongue medium of instruction. The second type of medium of instruction is foreign language medium of instruction. Yeah, so the acronym for mother tongue medium of instruction is MTMOI. Mother tongue medium of instruction. MTMOI. The second one is foreign language medium of instruction. FLMIN. MOI. Now, the third type of medium of instruction is bilingual medium of instruction, BMOI. BMOI. And then the fourth one is transitional bilingual medium of instruction. So the medium of instruction, they are four. They are four. We have the mother tongue. We have the foreign language medium of instruction. We have the bilingual medium of instruction. And then we have the transitional medium of instruction. But Obienya. Hello. But how many types no?
That's why.
Aha. All right. So now let's go step by step and explain them briefly. They are not difficult at all. Now let's look at the first type, mother tongue medium of instruction. So here, what does this one say? Basically, mother tongue. It means that the teaching and learning is going to be done only in what? The use of what? L1. Okay. Either Twi, Ever, Gadangwe, Guruni, Gonja. These are the indigenous languages, and these are the overt ones. They are the languages that are backed by law. Okay. Yeah. So the mother tongue medium of instruction is one of the types. It means that teaching and learning will be done solely by the use of what? Of the L1. In the teaching and what? Teaching and learning. All right. So when we use the L1 in teaching, it has a lot of benefits and advantages. Okay. One of it is that it helps the children to be able to grasp concepts very well. Acquisition of concepts. Concepts they're able to grasp it because you've used what? The L1. In the classroom situation, when you are teaching, KG, now you're being verbose. Okay, yeah, they will just look into your face. But when you use the local language and their background, where they are coming from, you see that they will listen to you with a very attentive mind. And whatever that you teach, they're able to acquire it easily. All right. So the medium of instruction that we can teach, the children can be taught using the L1 only. All right. Now let's move on to the second one. Foreign language medium of instruction. It's also very simple. It means that teaching or learning or instructing using what? The L2 only. So the foreign language, either French or English or Portuguese or Spanish. But Ghana, for example, we instruct using which foreign language?
French
we
and
instruct
English.
using which foreign language?
French and English.
Are you sure we use French?
English.
It's English.
Yes.
English is our foreign language. It's our colonial language. As for the French, we learn it. When you are going to teach
it.
Yeah, so when you're going to teach what do you call it? If you're going to teach social studies, do you teach social studies using French?
No.
So French is not it's one of the foreign languages, but we don't instruct in French. We rather instruct using what? The L2. I hope it is clear.
Yes, sir.
All right. So the foreign language is that the L2 only medium of what instruction for non-native speakers. Okay. So when you use the L2, to instruct non-native speakers. You can say non-native speakers. We are the non-native speakers. The native speakers are the British, the Americans, and the Canadians. We are non-native speakers. Okay.
Wait.
So there are certain things that I want you to take note here. That when you instruct, when you use L2, only medium of instruction for non-native speakers like us, we say that the language is what is immersed. It's immersion. It means that you immerse the people what into into speaking of what of L2. Okay. Non-native speakers, when you instruct them using the L2 with the support of the L1, we say it is immersing. So immersion is when you teach non-native speakers like us, okay, with the support of the L1, okay, you teach all right in English language. With the support of the L1, we call it immersion. Hello? And what's immersion, I say? Do you understand the immersion now?
Sir, please, because of the microphone that people have enabled,
I have told you to mute. Please mute your microphones. I am saying that for the foreign language, we have what we call language immersion. And the language immersion is a situation where you teach your students, okay, in the L2 with a support, with little support from the L1. In that case, we say that L2 you have used is what is immersing. I said, the old bush. Immersion. What do you know? Are you getting the point?
Sure. Okay.
And then we also have language submersion. So the submersion is where you teach or you instruct in the L2 without any support from any of the local languages. It's a term that you must understand. Please, do you now understand? Have you got it in it?
Sure.
Yeah, please come again with the language immersion.
Yeah, language immersion is where you instruct in L2 all right, but then with little support from the L1.
Okay.
And then the submersion is the contrary. Only the L2 solely, without any support from the L1.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. So that is the second type of medium of instruction. The third one is bilingual medium of instruction. Bilingual. It means that you are instructing your children or instructing or teaching using what? 2 languages. That is what? Bilingual. So you blend L1 and L2 in what? In the teaching and learning in our classrooms. And then the fourth one, which is the last one, is the transitional bilingualism. A transitional bilingual medium of instruction. Transitional bilingual medium of what? Instruction. So transitional. It means that you instruct the children in what? In L1. Okay. You teach your children in L1 from, let's say, KG1 to primary 3. And then from primary 4 onwards, what do? They now transition. It means that they move into a higher class. And therefore, they transition in the instruction of what? L2 only. So that is the transitional bilingual medium of what? Of instruction. Let's come again. So the transitional bilingual medium of instruction is that the child studies the L1 from KG to lower primary 3. And then when they get to primary 4, they no more. They now transition to the learning of what? Of the L1. So before they transition to the learning of L2, they have already acquired the L1 background, and then they move. So transition, they will move on to another aspect. Are we okay? All right. All right. Now, hello.
Hi.
All right. So, please, do you understand the traditional bilingual medium of instruction?
Yes, please.
All right. Now, the transitional bilingual medium of instruction.
Sir, please, can you give the difference between the sequential bilingualism and transitional? It's a bit
Okay, so somebody is trying to find out the difference between the sequential and then the transitional. Yeah. So the sequential, we said that the child studies what? The L1, okay, and later, so I think they are similar, okay. I understand. I now understand where you are coming from. They are similar. It's just like the transitional bilingualism. Yeah. So I agree with you, because the sequential one, the child learns the L1, okay, and then later, are you getting the point? Okay. Yeah, but the only difference is that, you see here, something we are talking about the child coming from home. Okay, coming from home. No, the child comes from home with the home language, and then when he comes to school, he comes to study what? The L2. That is the only difference. But there are some similarities in these two things. Okay. Now, I want you to also understand that when we come to the transitional bilingual medium of instruction, we have types. So you can just write types of transitional bilingual medium of instruction. Please, are you following the discussion?
Yes, sir.
You must follow it.
Sir, you can continue.
All right. So we have types of bilingual transitional bilingual medium of instruction. One of the types is that we have what we call early exit transitional bilingual medium of instruction. Early exit. Early exit transitional medium of instruction. And here we are saying that it is between the age of age 1 to age 3. Early exit, transitional medium of instruction, the child is being instructed. The child is being taught in the L1 within first, second, and 3 years of the child. It doesn't go beyond it. First, second, and then third year. So one of the types of early exit, it means that for the first 3 years of the child studies what? The L1. When it gets to age 3, then the child now transitions into the speaking of what? Of the L2, or instructed in what? In the L2. All right. So one of the types of transitional bilingual, I said we have what? Early exit. So we call it the exit point. Early exit transitional bilingual medium of what? Of instruction. And then second, we have what we call quasi exit. Quasi late exit bilingual transitional bilingual medium of instruction. Quasi late exit. Quasi late what? Exit. So here we are saying that the child is being taught up to age 3, and then after age 3, okay, the child now exits. Okay, so quasi, meaning that between the early exit, okay, and then the late exit. So we have quasi exit, and then the quasi exit, you know, that one is from age 3 to age 5. So age 3 to age 5, the child is now going to transition into another level of what? Of being instructed in what? In a language. So we have what? Quasi late exit. That is after 3 years to 5. But somebody has say, and then the last type of all right. I am saying that the transitional bilingual medium of instruction, there were 3 types of it. There are 3 things under it. The first one is that we are talking about transitioning. The child is being taught in the L1 from a certain age before you introduce what? The L2 to the child. And we are saying that this transitioning, we have what we call the exit point. And that the exit point constitutes this particular transitioning. The first exit point is that we have what we call the early exit bilingual, transitional bilingual medium of instruction. And I'm saying that here the exit point is from age 1, 2 to age 3. So age 1, 2 to age 3, before the child is being introduced to what? To L2 or a second language. And the second one I mentioned is quasi-late. Quasi is spelled like Q-U-A-S-I, hyphenated late. Quasi-late bilingual transitional medium of instruction. And here I am saying that here the child studies the L1 now from age 1 to age 5. Before the child, yeah. So we know, I say from after 3. So after age 3 to age 5. But if you look at it in sequence, say it was so for the quasi one, the age limit is age 3 to age 5 before the child is exposed to what? To the study of what? Of the L2. And then the last one is what we call the late exit. Late exit. Transitional bilingual medium of what? Of instruction. Late exit. So the late exit is what? It's beyond 5 years. It is beyond what? 5 years. So after 5 years, then the child is now being exposed to what? Or being instructed in what? In L2. So these 3 are the types of transitional bilingual medium of what? Of instruction. Class, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
You can continue. Yes,
All right.
sir.
All right.
Continue.
Yeah, it's getting to time. So now let's hurry up and then we finish. Now let's talk about, is there any relevance or importance of the use of the mother tongue based bilingual medium of instruction at all? Is there any relevance? Is there any importance?
Yes, sir.
Do you find any importance of using the mother tongue based bilingual as a medium of instruction?
Yes.
Yes,
All right.
please.
All right. So now let's talk about the importance. Now the importance can be seen from 2 angles. or in two perspectives. We can talk about the importance from the point of view of parents, attitude of parents, or let me say stakeholders. And then when we mention the stakeholders, it includes what? Parents, teachers, and then even government, and then educationists. All of them are stakeholders, and even some NGOs. All of them are what? Are stakeholders. So now let's look at the importance from the point of view of these stakeholders. Now let's look at parents. When we use both languages, okay, in the teaching of our children, what do you think are some of the importance from the point of view of parents? How would parents see the importance of using these languages in instructing our children? Hello?
So is it a question?
Yes, it's a question. We are talking about the importance of mother tongue-based bilingual medium of instruction. That is the importance, the relevance of using two languages, okay, in instructing our children, in teaching our children. What are some of the importance?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the children are able to express themselves very well.
Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, thank you. So you can explain, okay? All right. It's okay. You have made a point. Yes, that is it. When you do that, they're able to express themselves very well. Okay. All right. Any other?
It helps them to understand it easier.
It helps
them to understand easier.
All right. It helps in understanding. Yeah. It facilitates the understanding of the children easily. Thank you very much. Any
builds
other?
their confidence too. It builds their confidence.
Yes, it builds their confidence. Very good. Yeah, they become, they have what they call that self-esteem. That self-esteem is what is built. They don't feel shy.
Learners are also able to participate.
Thank you very
actively.
much. Yeah, Wabi, come again.
I said learners are also able to participate in teaching and learning very actively.
Thank you very much. Yeah, they involve themselves actively in lesson. So that is the importance of using two languages. If you say something in Twi, you can say it also in English, and they get the concept. All right. Thank you very much. So, okay, in Ewe, thank you very much. In Ewe. All right. So in Ewe too, yes, you speak Ewe, and then you're able to interpret it in what? In English. You use both languages, and you see how lively your class becomes. Your children will enjoy your class. Okay. All right. Yeah. So when you go into your model, page 58, they have outlined this importance there. Page 58. It helps bridge the linguistic gap. Okay. The difference between the L1 and the L2 is being what? Is being brought together. It bridges that gap. Okay. And it also facilitates understanding, as somebody mentioned. It minimizes what's called rote learning. It's time. You know rote learning. It minimizes what? Rote learning. Rote learning. Say, yeah, baba di. Because we use the two languages, they understand. Yeah, true and poor. It minimizes it. So they are there. You can just have. Now the last session has to do with. It's also similar to what we just mentioned. The role of first language in education of the young learners. So we are saying that the first language plays a significant role in the education of what? Of young learners. Okay, especially those in the early childhood centers. from primary KG to primary 3, the L1 or the mother tongue plays a significant role in what? In their learning. And what we are saying is that it helps in their academic skills. One of the roles of the L1 in young learners like the KG children is that it helps in the acquisition of of their academic skills. And in the academic skills, what we are saying is that concept formation are actually built at this particular level. They're able to acquire concepts very well. It also builds their literacy skills. You can say literacy, their ability to be able to read and write. It also developed this particular skills. Another role is that it also expands their vocabulary, their acquisition of vocabulary. Because of the use of the L1, they're able to acquire a lot of vocabulary. It also helps in their cognitive development. And it also lessens the burden of of teachers. Who teach the amount of time that you use in explaining one concept to a child. If you use the local language, either a Vega language or T, the child would have gotten it long time. Now you want to explain the meaning of handkerchief. How are you going to explain it? Oh, handkerchief is an object which we use to clean our face. Meanwhile, if you have the handkerchief, you can just show where the people anymore. And the child can easily grasp it. And see, a teacher for you must see the amount of time that we use in instruction now, it actually reduces it. All right. It is almost time. And so I will just implore you to continue with your reading. Yes. And then you put down your comments and your questions. Next week, God willing, when we meet for the Unit 3, you can bring it for discussion.
All right.
So, right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you too, sir.
Have a blessed day.
Please, can you
repost
the models? Some of us, we don't have the models, so.
We will share it on a WhatsApp platform.
Okay,
yes,
all right. So I'll join it and then post it to you.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Guys, try and share. If you have any past questions, try and share, please.